Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 469. Today is the 8th of November, 2023. We have got a bunch of local SEO questions to answer today. We got a couple of quick announcements, but before we do that, I want to touch base with the guys, see what's going on. If you are watching today, say hello, drop a comment. If you're checking out the replay, leave a comment on the replay, say hello, let us know what you think. So first of all, Chris, how you doing today?
I don't know what to say. It's kind of crazy on my end at the moment. Lots of work to do, and working through a couple late night sessions, which is like 2, 3 a.m. my time. So like I'm basically having kind of early morning, going to sleep at 5 for 4 hours. Woke up like an hour ago, like for this lovely meeting,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, like we'll work a bit and a couple more work and meetings again, and sleep another 4 hours. Like seems like crazy.
Wow. Oh man. Well, I have definitely not been that busy on my end, but I was doing something funny today. I've never made a testimonial advertisement for myself before, so that was kind of weird putting together it's like a retargeting for agency work. So if people have seen some of my videos, then they get retargeted with other stuff, and one of them, this was the last piece of it. So anyways, that was kind of fun putting that together and editing it. I felt very like I'm pumping
What do you
myself
mean?
up.
You want to say you like your own work?
Just be like, here's what I mean. Luckily, I've got clients that have given me video testimonials, but it still felt kind of funny to be putting it together. But, anyways, getting into the weeds here. Bradley's connection I know isn't awesome right now, but Bradley, you can hear us, right?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's I don't know why my connection was fine all day, and for the last 20 minutes it's just been shit. So I
Well,
don't know what the hell's going on, but it's been very frustrating. So hopefully we'll be able to get through today the questions without too many errors.
sounds good. Well, a couple quick announcements before we jump into questions. Wanted to let people know, heads up over Black Friday timeframe, we're going to be putting out some limited time content. So you'll be able to grab that if you are a subscriber to Semantic Mastery, whether you're in the Facebook group or you're on the email. If you are not either of those, head over to semanticmastery.com, jump on the email list. We're going to be sharing that information. Like I said, it's going to be limited time. It will be available completely for free, but you want to be or you need to be in the Facebook group or on the email list to get access to that and find out where it is. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to touch base on real quick, or Bradley, do you want to tell people a little bit about what's going on with the directory hybrid agency training, how that's coming along? Because I'm going to drop a link for people who are interested in kind of early access or being notified about that when it's available and finding out more about it.
Yeah, we there's been several new developments in the last week alone. It's crazy, but that's why I hesitate to update the SOPs lately because as soon high level's been doing so many changes lately that like as soon as I update an SOP, I have to do it again because there's a new development. And it's really frustrating. So, but part of why I bring that up is because one of the biggest hurdles for people to get started with the directory process and all of that is email, doing the cold email, outreach, because it requires proper domain warm up. You have to have multiple sending domains. You have to warm them up properly, or because it's just like email service providers are making it very difficult for cold emailers to do cold email. So there's a lot of steps that are involved in like getting the domains prepared to start sending cold emails, and it's a real pain in the ass, and it always has been. But it's gotten even harder in the last year than it was, even 2 years ago. So anyway, long story short, that's one of the biggest hurdles is people having to buy the domains and set up the domain warming app. And there's different apps out there that do that, and they're all different, slightly different. And not all of them are compliant with, a lot of the ESPs anyways. And so there's always the risk of, being blacklisted and all. So long story short is high level just released this week, at least to the greater audience. They had a beta group of it for it earlier, but this just over this in the last few days, they launched or released a dedicated sending IP through high level. So it's $59 a month, but you can add unlimited domains, so unlimited sending domains to the dedicated IP, and they do all the email warming and everything for you. And that's a huge development because I'm going to record some updated SOP training on how to implement that with the dedicated sending IP, so that our mastermind members can use that to set up their own if they want. But through the DHA program, we'll manage all that for our members that use our high level account instead. So that's kind of one of the big developments is that. There's also some others. We're working on some new lead magnets. We're going to talk about, I think Adam was going to talk about our Black Friday promotions, but we've got some new lead magnets that we're working on for the DHA program for our members to be able to use similar lead magnets for their chosen industry, et cetera. So we're moving right along. Like I said, we'll probably wait until after the first of the year now to launch it fully, like the program to the greater audience. But things are definitely moving along in a nice pace right now. The developments are coming along. We're getting a lot closer to the kind of sales process, which is where I really want us to be.
All right, welcome. Real quick, Bradley, did you update the redirect?
I did not.
You want to do that real quick?
Yeah, it's in part because my connection sucks so bad right now. So I apologize. Let me find it.
No worries.
Go
So
ahead.
regarding
So is
the-
there anything else?
Cold email stuff, I also have my 2 cents on that. Like, there's like, it's actually a perfect time to use AI for that. I've been doing that a lot, especially on API and then stuff. So that makes it very easy to actually inbox, and they're also warming up SaaS. I think High Level is using that as well. So they basically generate part of the message with AI, and that also helps the inboxing. So like, highly recommended to check that out as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff continues to go on the AI side, but a lot of it too is, just helping out, doing the heavy lifting with that stuff, like the cold emailing or reactivating customers, all sorts of cool stuff.
All right, I'm getting this updated right now. Sorry about that, guys. Let me
Yeah, no worries.
This is the proper URL because I closed the browser.
I'm surprised
my
Bradley's
internet's
not
right now.
running it off of his phone.
Yeah.
This is awful. I mean, I can't get this fucking page to load. It's just driving me nuts.
You want to shoot me the link and I'll update the redirect?
I can update the redirect. I just need to know if this is the proper damn link.
Ah.
I only loaded. Piece of shit. Sorry, guys. I'm irritated right now because this is very frustrating trying to work like this. I got the Starlink, but I don't have it installed. I won't get it installed until the last week of November now. So sucks. I got to deal with this for the next few days or next few weeks. Excuse me. All right. If we're good, let's go ahead and jump in. Or did you have something else you wanted to talk about with the Black Friday stuff? Or
no, I already mentioned it and just wanted to tell people who aren't in the mastermind, if you want to find out more about the mastermind, if you're a local SEO agency owner or freelancer and you're looking to grow that and be around other agency owners, find out more about that at mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Other than that, let's go for it, Bradley.
Okay, great. Let me go ahead and open up the screen or grab the screen, excuse me. Jump into it. Okay, should be good. You guys have seen my screen, correct?
Nope.
Not yet. There we go. Got it.
Yep.
Probably a terrible delay, I'm sure. All right, so the first question was from Danny, and this was from last week, but I don't think I got to it, so I'm going to answer it now. Hey, Bradley, how important is posting on YouTube for local SEO clients? I mean, it can be if it's, I mean, a lot of people don't do it, but that's another reason why it's good to do it. Posting content it depends on what you're posting, but for just posting content alone can be beneficial, especially if you have like a strategy, like we're targeting specific keywords, etc. Have videos that are optimized to promote, products or services, etc. And optimize the videos with, the keyword or product or service keyword and title, that kind of stuff. That can all help, and then link to the appropriate page. If you can do CTR traffic through the video, either real traffic or, spoofed traffic, and then get link clicks on the link to the client's assets, so their money site, Google Business Webs, Google Business Assets, etc. From the YouTube videos, those are great clicks. Those are heavy weighted clicks. So that's like another thing as another reason why it makes sense to publish content, or local businesses should be publishing content to YouTube. I've talked about this many times, but for using YouTube videos with YouTube ads, or Google ads for YouTube, is a great way to do what I call an indirect lead generation campaign or a branding campaign. So that's also beneficial. That's not really for the SEO. There is some SEO benefit from that though, too, because again, getting clicks from an ad to a video. Well, just to be clear, let me clarify. When I talk about doing an indirect lead generation campaign or a branding campaign, it can, those are interchangeable. With using YouTube ads, it's more about the views than it is the clicks. So when I say publishing content on YouTube that has, like, so for example, optimizing a YouTube video for a product or service that the local business provides, and then linking to that specific product or service page from within the YouTube description, as well as name, address, phone number, link to the Google Business Profile, map, etc. Getting clicks on that kind of stuff that's important. That can help quite a bit. Those clicks are weighted very heavily because it's from a Google property. Okay. So doing like CTR manipulation where you can control the click through, so you can tell it what to click on, that's a good way to do it for SEO purposes. When I talk about using YouTube ads, it can benefit SEO, but it's more for branding and for indirect lead generation. And why I say that is because with YouTube ads, it's more about the view than it is the click. At least for local ads, and the way that I've always done them, I've always found that, the clicks are few and far between, but the ad views themselves are what's beneficial, because you can set your geographic targeting so that the ad is only being displayed, the YouTube video is only being displayed to people within that specific area. You can also set up your audience segments so that you can use like an in-market audience or a life event audience or a custom segment where you define the parameters that you want Google to create a bucket of Google users that meet that criteria. All of that is beneficial for getting the company's name in front of prospective customers in their local area, so that when they are ready to finally make the purchasing decision for that product or service, that company will be top of mind. So the reason I say that can be good for SEO is because when a click does come through those ads, that's a very heavy weighted click, because first of all, it's a Google user that's clicking. Number two, it's to an audience that has already been, if you've done your targeting properly, that is already likely interested, and Google knows that, right? And so again, that type of a click is weighted even heavier than some random bot click from a CTR manipulation campaign through a local YouTube video for SEO purposes. So hopefully you understand the difference that I'm talking about here. YouTube videos can be beneficial for a number of reasons. For SEO purposes, they can rank. Did I lose everybody?
No, we got you.
Okay, I'm just making sure because the video widget disappeared. So they can be beneficial for SEO purposes, for, like I said, for the clicks. The videos themselves can rank. Also using the videos and the content mirroring method. That's something I was thinking about redoing for Black Friday this year, but I really don't have the bandwidth to redo the whole training for that. So I'm not going to. I'm going to do something else. But the content, like using the videos in the content mirroring method, also embedding the videos onto the pages or onto mirrored pages, like on the G site, etc. It's Google code. It helps. You can embed those videos in press releases, etc. So all of that kind of stuff helps. So again, I think YouTube videos are great. Kind of thing that should be used for all local businesses, just because, again, there's many different benefits from them. Good question. Next one's from Matt. Matt says, if a client is in a small town, do you recommend using city+state of their physical location in the title tag of their homepage, or would you recommend using the nearest biggest city, or what would you consider best practice? Well, it depends on what, you're talking about the homepage, but Matt, what is the location landing page URL? If it's a single location business, it's often going to be the homepage. Although I'm going to be doing some testing in the next couple of weeks. I've got 3 new GBPs that I'm getting, and I'm going to do some testing with different configurations on those too. But so what I would recommend is if the homepage is the location landing page, meaning that's the website URL linked to from the Google Business Profile, then what I always recommend is that you optimize the location modifier in the SEO title for the specific city that it's in, right? If you want to rank in an adjacent town or city, that's fine. Create a separate page on the site that's optimized for that town or city. But what you're trying to do is, and I love Ted Gubitis said this, and I love this. It's the simplicity of the statement that he said, which Google Business Profiles are looking for agreement. with what they're linked to on the website. So in other words, if you want the Google business profile to perform better in search, provide agreement between how the profile is optimized and how the website is optimized, right? And so if you're linking to what I call the location landing page, the website URL linked to from the Google business profile, I want to go start with the brand name as the first part of the SEO title, because that's what Google does. Go look at Google business profile maps, go look at Google business profile websites, and you'll see it's always the Google business name is the first part of the SEO title. Then there's a separator, which is a hyphen. And then Google appends its own brand, Google Maps, to the end of the GBP map. But the end of the GB website, you have a little bit of control over the other parts of the SEO title and what's known as the description. But Google gives you helper text, and it tells you for best results include, and it says in quotes, the primary Google business category, and then also the same city that the Google business profile is physically located in. So Google's telling us how we should optimize location landing pages and Google business assets. Brand name first, Google business category next, location modifier last, if that makes sense. So I always recommend that on the location landing page, provide agreement with the Google business profile. So therefore, optimize brand, Google business category, then the location that the Google profile is located in physically. If you want to rank in adjacent cities, that's fine. You can have other inner pages on the site that are optimized for those. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, because again, you want to provide agreement. And the way the Google profiles have narrowed proximity considerably, because Google's really going hyperlocal with search. And I mean, that's quite apparent. Like proximity's been narrowing across the board for everybody for like the last 2 years. There's been 2 times that I know of that were significant updates, and then but slowly it's like what they call mission creep or scope creep or whatever. It's like Google's slowly creeping the proximity back to making it smaller, essentially, for all local businesses because of more hyper localized results. So that's why I say you always want to provide agreement with what the Google business profile is optimized for. So if it's in a particular city, you want to reinforce that or corroborate that entity information within the SEO title. So I always optimize for the city that it's located in. And I already can hear the questions or the people screaming at the I can hear you people screaming at the screen right now. But I'm in a small town. It doesn't get any search volume traffic. Fine. That's fine. Create another page that is optimized for the cities that you want to get more traffic in. And with the proper internal linking and proper structure of the site, you can also get results for those too. Maybe not maps results, like you would want, but you can still get you can still generate leads and get ranked in those adjacent cities organically, maybe in maps, depending on how close they are. But trying to optimize and brute force a map to pop into a maps 3-pack for an adjacent city when the Google profile is not located in that city is very, very difficult. And even if you can get it to appear, it's brief because Google is always going to be trying to push that out of the 3-pack to display businesses that are in closer proximity to the searcher in that specific city. So I always tell clients now, is like, look, I'm trying to set your expectations, Matt, and I say the same thing to clients is like, look, I understand your Google profile is located in a city that doesn't get much volume. I understand that, but it's physically located there. You can't change that unless you change your location. So let's optimize the best that we can in the location that you're in to try to push the maps coverage out as far as we can. But once we kind of figure out where the threshold is, that it's just damn near impossible to expand beyond that or for it to stay expanded beyond that if we are able to do it, then we can either focus on just organic assets or Google Ads plus organic assets, or you can always at that time try to attempt to secure another Google business profile in the adjacent cities or the town on the other side of the adjacent city, etc., so that you can kind of expand your maps coverage again. So that's kind of the way that I do it. And guys, that's the way that it's going. Like, hyper localization, it is what it is. So we just need to adjust and adapt. And so that's the way that I'm doing it for my agency. Hopefully that's clear, Matt. It's a good question, but always optimize for the city that you're located in first. Try to get the best results there first. Once you've expanded the map to the point where it doesn't seem like it's going to expand anymore, you know, you can certainly add location pages for adjacent cities, etc., and that can help with pushing maps. But, you know, once you reach kind of the threshold where it doesn't seem like it's going to expand beyond that, then that's when it's time to look at other strategies, other methods. Either secure an additional Google business profile, or just focus on organic and or Google ads, search ads. Hopefully that's clear. Next question. So the GBP title for a local business contain anything other than the official name? For example, city plus state, keywords, etc. Not in the Google business profile name. That should be the, there's only a couple of exceptions for that. If it's a multi-location business, then I often will recommend appending the city name to the company name. So for example, let's just use, you know, Joe's Tree Service, right? Let's say Joe's Tree Service has 3 locations in Northern Virginia. Then if what I would do is I would, you know, I've recommended many times, and I've done this for some of my own projects too, where I would say, like, let's say Joe's Tree Service Manassas, Joe's Tree Service Fairfax, Joe's Tree Service Leesburg, right? Like those are 3 different cities in Northern Virginia. So I would do that. But other than that, I don't recommend. Look, I understand you can still see it in the wild, right? Anytime you're doing Google searches, you're going to see that there are a lot of times Google business profiles that have the name, the company name, but then they stuff a ton of keywords and everything else. And yes, that can get ranking results. The problem with that is it looks spammy as hell. You can be suspended. You can be reported by your competitors. All of that, it can cause all kinds of issues that I just don't recommend. Yes, you can get a ranking benefit from it, but I don't like taking chances like that. So I always recommend sticking with just the Google business name, or excuse me, the legal company name, or a variant of that. But if it's going to be a variant of the legal business name, make sure that that is published consistently everywhere on the web. Meaning anytime the company name is mentioned, that's why I recommend just using the real legal entity name, because if you use the real legal entity name, then it's pretty much guaranteed, you know, that it's going to be formatted properly by like the data aggregator sites and all that kind of stuff. If you're using a variant of the legal business name, what do I mean by that, guys? Well, like if it's Joe's Tree Service LLC, you could omit the LLC if you wanted to, right? Or if it were Inc., you could omit Inc. if you wanted to. But you could put those in as well. All I'm saying is if you're going to use a variant from the legal entity name, just make sure that it's consistent every time it's published, that it's going to be in that consistent format. That's all I'm saying. But Google has gotten a lot more forgiving about that, just so you guys know. Like if it was Joe's Tree Service LLC or Joe's Tree Service Inc., and that was sometimes showing and sometimes it wasn't, Google's a lot more forgiving about that now than it was, you know, a few years ago. That's for sure. But again, I still recommend you don't want to cause entity ambiguation by having different versions of the brand name out there on the web. Does that make sense? Because that can cause problems too. That's why I say just be consistent. I don't recommend squeezing keywords in unless the keyword is part of the brand name, which is a lot of tree service guys. It's whatever tree service, right? And that's fine because now you got a keyword in there. And then if you have multi-location and you append the business, or excuse me, the location name, now you've got the category name and the location in the Google business title. And I've never had anything suspended from doing just appending the location name to the business. At least I don't know that it was suspended just for that reason, is what I'm saying. So other than that, no, I don't recommend squeezing anything else in there. Okay. And guys, let me pause the screen for a minute. Just so I can show you guys something, because I was just actually showing I was doing a audit for an SEO analysis for somebody in one of my link building clients. And here, I'm just going to grab the screen again. I just want to make sure it was cleaned up. And I'll show you guys this real fast. 1 second. Okay. All right. So here's what the formats that I use depending on what type of page it is, guys. This is my SEO title format. Hopefully you guys understand that. For the location landing page, always do brand, Google business category, city, state, if that's how the named entity is in Wikipedia, the location is. What do I mean by that? Well, in some cities, they like if you go to Wikipedia and you search for the city, or city state abbreviation, whatever, and then you click on the appropriate Wikipedia entry. If it's city, state spelled out, then I always like to put it that way. If it's just city, and like some of them, I think Las Vegas is one of them, where it doesn't have comma Nevada, then you can just have the city. You don't have to have the comma and the state, if that makes sense. But if the Wikipedia entry for that location has the comma state spelled out, then that's typically how I want to reinforce it, right? So again, that's for the location landing page. For organic pages, meaning pages that you're going to rank organically, they may be tied to a company, or they might be pages of a company's website that has a Google Business Profile. But when I say organic only pages, I mean pages that are not directly tied to the Google Business Profile, right? The location landing page is the website URL linked to from the Google Business Profile. All other pages, although may be associated with that Google Business Profile, they're not directly tied to the profile. So I call those organic only pages. And this is how I optimize those. Product or service topic, the top level pages, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Top level pages. Then city, state, then brand. But you'll notice in either case, we always want to have the brand name, right? Because we want to always create that association between the top level products and service, the city and the state, and the brand. Or the Google Business category, the city, state, and the brand, right? We always want to create those associations from with the brand and the locations and the products, services, or categories. You understand? It's about that's what the semantic web is all about, right, guys? Associations and relationships between entities. So that's a way that we can kind of reinforce that with the SEO type. So hopefully that's clear. All right, moving on. Peter says, when doing a search for our pressure washing company name, when doing a search for our pressure washing company name, several competing businesses' advertisements pop up ahead of our listing. Do you believe this is being done intentionally by the competitors to target our brand name with an ad campaign? Or is it a Google algorithm? Well, okay, it could be both. It could be it could be either or both, depending on what your pressure washing company's name is. I see a ton of local business clients out there, and SEOs that do stuff for local business clients that have, their company names are also generic search queries. Like, let's just say, Culpeper pressure washing. If that's the company name, that's also a generic search query. So if people are if Google advertisers are bidding on pressure washing Culpeper, right? Then Culpeper pressure washing, their ads will get an impression for that, because if they have it set up as broad match, which most advertisers do, right? Then Culpeper pressure washing is the same as pressure washing Culpeper, or power washing Culpeper, because pressure washing and power washing are variants of each other. So what I'm saying is, again, if it's a generic, if the company name is also a generic search query, or can be, depending on the order of the words, right? Then it might not be that people are targeting what I call a brand campaign, meaning a competitor brand ads campaign. That is something that can be done intentionally. I do it for my tree service contractor clients, not all of them, but the ones that have asked me to do it, we'll do that. We'll set up ad campaigns with the competitors' tree service company names in their local area as the keywords. You can't use the competitors' company names in the ad copy or the headline, but you can bid on their search queries for those names. And I call that poaching, right? When you're poaching leads or clients, customers from another company. And you can do that with a brand campaign, and like a competitor brand campaign. And that's a good strategy. We do that for sure. And by the way, unless the competitor is actually bidding on their own brand name in Google Ads, you can get brand name clicks for dirt cheap. Unless the competitor is also advertising, and then your cost per click is going to go way up for that particular competitor. But if the competitor is not advertising in Google Ads on their own brand name, then you can get clicks for dirt cheap there. Here's an example. I'm running a competitor brand campaign for a tree service contractor that's up in just north of Boston, Massachusetts. And a normal CPC, or cost per click, for tree service related keywords is anywhere between, depending on the area, in that area, it's like between $35 and $50 per click, depending on the search query. But I can get competitor brand clicks, so that people that are searching for, so here's an example. One of the competitors is Iron Tree Service. Iron Tree Service is all over that kind of North Shore area of Boston, and they're everywhere. So we've targeted that competitor brand name for sure, and we can get clicks from that brand search for like $7 or $8 versus $7 to $9, somewhere in that range, versus paying for $35 to $50 for a regular search query click, if that makes sense. So again, it depends. It can be one or the other or both. It could be that it could be a generic company name that could also be a search query, and that people are also bidding on the company name. But my guess is, it sounds like there's multiple ones. For pressure washing, I don't know that. Again, I don't know this to be true, but I don't know that pressure washing is competitive enough that there would be a bunch of advertisers in your local area advertising on a competitor brand name. It's possible, but it's probably unlikely. It's probably more that the company name is also could be a generic search query, if that makes sense. And I could be wrong about that. It could just be that there's a bunch of people competing on the brand name. But either way, you can certainly do it, right? Is there anything we can do to fight against this? Yes. Set up a Google an ads campaign for the brand, for your brand. I know that seems silly. Why would I want to pay for clicks? Well, it's to drive the cost per clicks way up for all of the other people that might be bidding on your brand name. That's why you do it. Does that make sense? And it's also, and also, by the way, guys, you can have really terrible ads, but if you're bidding on your own brand or a client's brand on their behalf, and you have, you've connected the Google Ads account to their Google business profile, then when you're doing the Google Ads for their brand campaign, you can get clicks for dirt cheap, right? So it's not, again, it seems silly to bid on your own ad, but on your own brand name, but there's a reason for doing that. You get clicks for really, really cheap, and it also will drive the cost per click values up for competitors that are bidding on the same brand name. Okay. We're considering running a CTR bounce campaign on the listings to deplete their ad budget. Don't do that. First of all, that's ad fraud. You can literally be arrested for that. Like, seriously, that's ad fraud. Don't do that. And also, CTR bots aren't supposed to be able to click on those ads. I'm sure there are some that do, but I certainly wouldn't do that, man. That's illegal. Don't do that. I certainly don't recommend doing that. There's other ways to beat people, guys. just be better, right? I don't recommend any kind of negative SEO or depleting other people's budgets, because what if somebody did that to you? You know what I mean? And by the way, that happens all the time in Google Ads. Ad fraud, click fraud. That happens all the time, right? But I don't recommend contributing to that. Okay, anyway, moving on. Danny says, could you please explain what geostacks and cloud pages are? Okay, well, cloud pages are just HTML pages hosted on cloud storage accounts. Quite simple. So, cloud pages are generally HTML pages that you can host in cloud storage buckets. Amazon S3, DigitalOcean, Wasabi, Microsoft Azure, there are a bunch of them. And kind of the point of that is you instantly benefit from some of the authority of those domains. They have high traditional metrics like DR rating and DA rating and things like that. Metrics I generally don't give two shits about, but they have high traditional metrics if that's important to you. They can rank fairly quickly because of that, because of the authority of those domains. They can. That doesn't mean they always do, but they can rank fairly quickly. You can be really aggressive with link building to them because of their high authority domains, etc. So that's what a cloud page is. A geostack is just stacks are kind of a term that we've been using in SEO for many, many years now, where you talk about stacking properties. So we've talked about, drive stacks, Google Drive stacks for many years. So that's using Google properties and stacking Google properties and interlinking Google properties. So Google Drive, Docs, Sheets, drawings, presentations, all of that stuff, right? That's a Google stack. So a geostack is similar to that in that it is a stack of assets that are interlinked that provide geographic relevance. Hopefully that makes sense. So a geostack is just a stack. So it's a collection of assets that are structured and interlinked in a way to kind of compound their effect. And a geostack is just focused on geographic relevance as opposed to topical relevance. That's the only difference. Hopefully that's clear. Sean says, hey, Bradley, I've been running various amounts of CTR manipulation to different sites and GBPs using SerpEmpire. I did realistic amounts of CTR based on Search Console data, conservative amounts and outrageous amounts too. I have found after 2 months that none of those efforts have had any effect, even negative outcomes. However, I'd admit my testing has not been perfect. Have you done any testing on CTR manipulation recently? No, I have not, to be 100% clear. I did a lot of CTR testing last year. It might have even been the year before that, to be honest with you. And since then, I've not been doing near as much of it. I just haven't had the bandwidth. I use SerpEmpire quite a bit, and I like it because it does have the algorithm, Search Console integration. So it kind of auto optimizes the campaign if you use that integration. And I do like to do that. And I run it for almost all of our clients, like seriously, like all of my own agency clients, because, I think it's another tool in the tool belt that can be used and should be applied. That said, I have not done any significant CTR testing myself in at least a year, other than just applying CTR campaigns to stuff that I know has worked in the past, if that's clear. So it may be that CTR, and I don't know this to be true, guys, this is just a statement that I'm making. It may be that CTR is producing quite the effect that it did, at least if it's not validated traffic. Well, what validates traffic? Having a real user profile associated with the traffic source, that validates traffic. Traffic clicks from Google properties to Google properties. So like from Google Sites, YouTube videos, I just talked about that a moment ago, things like that, even clicks through Google Docs and Drive assets. Those are validated clicks because they're Google properties, right? Like it's essentially Google weights those clicks heavier because they're Google properties. I don't know that means that they're automatically validated, but they're definitely weighted heavier. So it could be a combination of all those things. That's part of the reason, guys, I've talked a lot about using Google ads for CTR manipulation, using Google Display Network, right? So the display ads, because you can buy traffic from known Google users. And if you set your audience segmenting, like I talked about when I mentioned the YouTube ads, if you set your audience targeting, you can set geographic targeting. You can also set your audience segments, either in-market audiences, life event audiences, or life event segments, I guess they're called now, or custom segments. You can develop any one of those. And why is that more effective than just maybe CTR bot traffic? Think about it, guys, because you are buying traffic from Google users that have shown an interest in the products or services that you're promoting, right? If you define your audience or segment in Google Ads to set a specific geographic target, and a life event audience is going to say things like going to college or graduating college, buying a home or selling a home, getting married or getting divorced, retiring, starting a business. Those are all what they call life event audience or segments. In-market segments, which I've used a lot of, are things like looking for home and garden services, landscaping, lawn care, things remodeling. So some type of remodeling, or looking for SEO and SEM services. So search engine optimizations or search engine marketing services, right? There are in-market audiences, which means Google has a bucket of people that it has already identified as likely in market for those products or services. So if you select that type of a segment and buy traffic from Google from that type of a segment with tight geographic targeting in the same local area as the whatever local business it is that you're trying to promote, assuming that's what you're trying to do, then those clicks are given a lot more value from Google, because it's a real known Google user that Google has already identified as likely it has an interest in the products or services, and it meets this specific audience criteria that you defined, right? So those clicks are weighted a lot heavier than bot traffic clicks. And I've been talking about that for years, because I've always said that bot traffic is, not verified traffic. So it's not weighted as heavy. So it could be that, again, I've not done a lot of testing, Sean, at all recently. There are other people in our industry that do a hell of a lot more CTR testing, Mike Merlino being probably the most known right now for CTR stuff. And I know he does a ton of testing. So he would be better to answer questions about CTR than I would, because again, like I said, I use it still to this day for setting up campaigns for most of my own local SEO clients. but I also run Google Ads in tandem with those for most of them, not all of them, but most of them, if that's clear. So again, just running CTR through SerpEmpire alone, and then checking that, like, do I have any campaigns that don't have it, and then some that only have SerpEmpire? Yeah, but I've not gone through and specifically checked those. But I do have campaigns that run both CTR or SerpEmpire, excuse me, and Google Ads for CTR manipulation, and I know that those campaigns are still performing well because I actually update those ads campaigns fairly often. So anyway, hopefully that's clear. I suspect any positive reviews of these softwares are affiliates looking for some extra money. That may be so. Again, guys, the biggest part of this is validated traffic. How do you validate the traffic signal? Have a real Google profile tied to it. Hopefully that's clear, guys. That's what's really important about it. I'm not saying that non-validated traffic can't still produce a result, but if you were Google, what would you start to ignore first if you knew, as Google knows, that CTR, right, engagement signals, is a ranking factor? It's a significant ranking factor. So if you were Google, wouldn't you just kill all non-validated traffic as a ranking signal? I certainly would. So how do you validate traffic? I just talked about that, right? Primarily by having it tied to a real Google user profile. So think about that. All right, only a couple more questions, guys, which is good. And we'll get into comments if we have time. Gregory says, hey, I thought that you would know about this and be able to explain it to me. I've seen a very prominent marketer promoting his product that allows you to manipulate Google search autocomplete drop-down options to list a specific business close to the top of those options. For example, a search for DUI Attorney Austin, Texas might show an autocomplete option in the drop-down options for Michael Patterson, DUI Attorney Austin, Texas. How would I go about manipulating the autocomplete options to include a specific business name? Thank you very much for your help. The only way that I've ever done it was by just using a search query string and then sending traffic to that. But again, I've done it with CTR apps, but I've also done it with Google Ads. And I found that it was much more effective when sending it using Google Ads traffic. Okay. So what do I mean? Well, go do a search for whatever it, like, let's just use your example. I'm going to use your example right here. So I'm going to copy DUI Austin TX. I go back over to, sorry, I got a shit. How do I minimize? I can't stand working on a fucking laptop on these, guys. Stand by. I have to kill the screen share for a minute. All right. So guys, I'm going to grab the screen again and I'll show you how I've done it in the past. Now, I've not done any of this in probably a year and a half. So use at your own risk. I don't see how this could cause any problems. But all right. So you see, I just put DUI Attorney Austin, Texas in here. Let's see if there's any Travis. No, I don't see any brand names in here, but I know that's what you're trying to do, is get a brand name to appear in here when a generic search query occurs. So this is how I've done it in the past. Just you guys know. Again, I've not tested this and I've not done any of this type of work in a while. But take a look at this search query string, guys. All I did was pull the query string out of the address bar. And again, the way that I've done it in the past, now keep in mind, a lot of this data here, guys, in this query string is traffic validating data. Like these search query strings have data in there that identifies the where the search was performed, etc. I'm not a nerd that understands all of this, but I do know that there's click data in this string that Google uses to identify a number of things. So that's what I'm talking about, validated traffic, guys, right? These are ways that Google validates traffic, okay? But at the simplest level, right there is the search query. You understand? So at the simplest level, if you get rid of all this potentially identifying data at the end of the click, and you just used this search query string here, and you got enough clicks on that where you would append the brand name of that. Let's go back to your example, which means I got to stop screen share again just to get back to the goddamn screen. It's unbelievable. I hate this. Anyway, hold on. Let me grab the brand name that you identified, and I'll show you what we can do. All right, grab the screen again. Here we go. Okay. So if you've got Michael Patterson, DUI Attorney Austin, Texas, and that's what you want to appear, then what you could do is just add Michael plus Patterson plus for each, and that's it right there. So now, if you were able to get traffic onto that search string there, and you get enough of it, validated traffic, then you can, Google will start to, it can start to pop that in as a suggestion, because it's by getting validated traffic on these search query strings, it's simulating a bunch of people going to Google and searching Michael Patterson, DUI Attorney, Austin, Texas. Do you understand? It's the click signal that tells the algorithm that somebody has searched for this query right here, and Google convert into this type of a query string, except Google also appends all of this click identifying, validating information, if that makes sense. We have to strip that stuff off, because otherwise you're sending, improper signals when you've got click identifiers that people are clicking on where that's not actual them clicking on it. So get rid of all that stuff. And again, I've not done this in quite some time, guys, but I was successful about 90% of the time in getting it. Varied about how long it would take to get the auto suggest to manipulate auto suggest. But I've had it occur in as little as 3 days, and other times it's took as long as 3 weeks. So, and I know that other people have done it using YouTube ads, or excuse me, not YouTube ads. You could do it with that too, but Facebook ads. I've never done it with Facebook ads. I only did it with YouTube ads and Google display ads, but you can do it this way. So here's an example. We just go open up Firefox. Hopefully this will work. But you see how the search query's up here, right? That's what you'd want to rank for. And all I did was just get a click on that URL. Right. And here's the thing, guys, this is again back to what I was talking about with validated traffic. Think about this. If you're using Google Ads instead of using CTR bots to try to do this, which you can try that, but why? Why not go ahead and set up a Google Ads display ads campaign for like $1 a day budget, guys? That's $30 a month, right? And you set up the segment audience segment targeting as I just described twice already today. I'll describe it again. Set your geographic targeting. So in this case, Austin, Texas, or the Austin, Texas, what do they call it? DMA region or whatever. So you've got, relevant geographic area defined. And then you use the in-market services audience segments for legal services. So now when you're getting clicks from Google Ads, display ads, it's from real Google users in the appropriate geographic area, right? So local to this law firm, and they've already, according to Google, have expressed an interest in legal services recently. So when you get a click on this type of a search string from those type of validated Google users that are in the specific geographic area and have shown an interest in recent history in the product or services that this law firm provides, then that click is a hell of a lot weighted a hell of a lot more, and can produce a search, suggest, can modify suggest a lot quicker than if you were to run a bunch of unvalidated bot traffic to it from all over the world. Do you understand? So think about that, guys. Which click would produce more of an effect? You guys all know the answer to that. That was a rhetorical question. So hopefully that's clear. Again, guys, the simple way that I've done it in the past, I've not done this in at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years, maybe even longer, but it worked well for me in the past, was to do that. Just go whatever your search query is that you want, go do a search for it, extract the URL from the address bar. You'll see the query string. Then get rid of all this click identifying information to where you trim it down to just the query string, and then insert the brand part that you want, with the plus symbols as the separators. If that makes sense. And then this becomes your target URL in your ad campaign or your CTR bot. But again, I can't stress enough, buying real Google user traffic is in my opinion, a much more effective method. Hopefully that's clear. Moving on. Okay, so question about, did I answer that fully? Yeah, okay, I did. Okay. Last one is Josh, or I'm sorry. few more squeezed in here. Question about internal linking URL structure. When building on a large city site for a home service niche, concrete tree services, or etc., how would you structure the website and internally link to pass juice in the correct way? I don't have time to go through that very deep right now because we've only got 10 minutes, Greg, or excuse me, Josh, but I've demonstrated this dozens of times in Hump Day Hangouts. So you can either go back and watch previous Hump Day Hangouts where I've covered this, but very quickly you can go just do a quick search. Here's a couple of examples. My site format is a bit different now, slightly than it is what I'm going to demonstrate here. But like I said, I'm just going to make this very, very quick for you specifically, Josh. Just you can go analyze these as just examples. But let's just go look at tree service Newburgh, Kentucky, just as an example. And we'll scroll down. And here's one. By the way, the content mirroring method doesn't work. Okay. Sure it doesn't. Anyway, so this is one of the sites that I started testing different site structures on that work, that this just crushes it. And so here's another one. These are both the exact same kind of structure, some slight differences in the SEO, the H1, the first H2, some slight different. This one's built on WordPress. This one's built in high level sites. That's why this one almost always outperforms this one, because Google likes this code better. But here are just examples of that. This is I have a services page, or in this case, they're separate pages. That's not necessary. In tree services, they can all be combined into one page, but have service pages that then link to the service area pages. The service area pages link to the service pages. It's like one great big reciprocal link on the site. Hopefully that's clear. What I'm trying to say, guys, is every location page is linked to from every service page. Every service page is linked to from every location page. So it is one great big reciprocal link. No kidding. But that is what I found to be the most efficient way to build a site now in today's environment. I'm not talking about last year's search environment. I'm talking about now, today. This is the most efficient way to build a site. Identify your top level Google Business category or categories. Optimize a page for each Google Business category. And then you have all the locations that you want to rank for. Have a separate location page for each with the top level Google Business category or topic term. And then you just associate pages through internal links. That's how you do it. It's the most efficient way to build a site right now, and it performs incredibly well. Way better than keyword plus city for every freaking service that you provide, which is a bunch of redundant, bloated content that nobody reads. Google doesn't like it. Like, honestly, it's stupid. This is a much better, and I'm not picking on anybody. I built a lot of sites that way myself. That's what used to work. And you can still get away with that now. But why? There is a much more efficient way to build sites now that requires a hell of a lot less work, a hell of a lot less content, a hell of a lot less backlinks to get results. So, I can't go any deeper into it than that, but you can just go search Tree Service Newburgh, Kentucky, or KY, and you'll see the top results are mine. This is part of what I call the content mirroring method. So this absolutely works, by the way. But anyway, you guys, you can just take a look at that and just kind of get an idea of how to structure a site with internal linking. And like I said, I've covered this dozens of times on Hump Day Hangouts. So there's other recordings of where I've gone a lot deeper into this. If you want the full training on this, guys, join the mastermind. I go into this almost every other week on our mastermind web. We got a mastermind webinar tomorrow. And I just had a new onboarding call with another mastermind member today. And I'm going to cover topic research and site structure again tomorrow for another industry, because I keep getting the request over and over and over again. And I get it, guys. It's hard to wrap your head around optimizing for topics, categories, etc., and also how to structure sites differently, when in the past, for years, we've always structured sites the way that you still see, which is keyword plus city for every stupid product or service that the company provides. That's not necessary anymore. And I highly recommend changing your method of builds, how you build sites, to be more efficient and to play in what's in the environment that's working today. Oh, by the way, another asset from the content mirroring method on page 1. It doesn't work though. So anyway, I would encourage you to join the mastermind because I go into a lot of detail there, and I've done multiple examples. A remodeling company example. I've done one for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical contractor, one that does all three. I've done several examples of tree service sites. I'm going to do one tomorrow for concrete, for the concrete industry. That's what I'm going to talk about in the mastermind webinar tomorrow, how to do topic and category research for the concrete industry, how to structure the site, etc. So that's all kind of stuff that I cover very, very thoroughly in the mastermind, guys. I can only cover it here on a very high level, conceptual level, if that's clear. So, all right, moving on. Greg says, is it still best practice to upload YouTube as a live event using OBS? I think there's still an SEO benefit from that. It's not near as prominent as it used to be, but there's certainly an SEO benefit from that. But honestly, to be 100% clear, I don't go through that trouble anymore when I upload videos for clients. I just upload them direct, just because it just takes that additional extra time. If I was trying to rank the videos all the time, then yeah, I would probably continue doing that. Rank them in Google, I mean, because I mean, YouTube probably a live video gets preferential treatment too. But remember, YouTube's algorithm, guys, is almost entirely engagement based. Google algorithm is totally different. I mean, there is engagement signals are a big part of that now, but YouTube is almost entirely engagement based. So if you're trying to rank a video in Google, then doing the live event stuff is probably I would encourage doing that. I've not tested that independently or isolated test on that anytime recently, but I'm assuming that live events still get preferential treatment in Google search over a regular uploaded video. So if I was trying to rank videos for clients, like I might do the live streaming, spoofed live streaming upload instead. But like I said, guys, sometimes videos will rank, but that's not my intent. My intent is to use videos to augment SEO and then also to set up YouTube ads. So a lot of the times I just upload the video directly to YouTube now, just because it saves me some time. Do you have a link to your demonstrating how to do this? I know you did in the past. Yeah, just go to our YouTube channel and go to youtube.com/semantic mastery, use the channel search feature and search OBS Studio. I'm sure it'll come up. Talked about how to live stream using OBS before, and I don't know that it's changed. The interface may have changed slightly, but it's probably still valid. Okay, last but not least, Paul says, is Google phasing out the GMB websites? Last three I've opened doesn't let me create the GMB website. God. Yeah, no, Paul, just to be clear, and by the way, that was not this question comes up all the time, and that's okay. I'm going to send you or I'm going to put in the chat. I'm going to also just show you in how to find it, so that you can find it yourself. But there is a great article by Hypertrix on how to get the Google business website to appear, and it works every freaking time. I've never sent it to somebody that said that it didn't work, and I've had somebody that didn't follow the SOP and it didn't work, and so all I did was fire up a screencast recording and walked right through the SOP to show that yes, it does work, and found out that it was just a typo in their Control F function. Let me just demonstrate it. Fuck it. Let me do this, guys. Give me a second.
Hey, Bradley, there was also one good question from chat I put into Slack that we should probably answer real quick before we hop off.
Okay, give me 1 minute. I'll demonstrate this and then I'll jump into that. So, guys, I'm going to grab the article. I'll grab the screen in just a moment. Let me put this into YouTube chat if I can find it. Where'd you put that question, Adam?
Slack.
Okay, I'll check on that in a minute. All right, I put it in YouTube chat, guys. I'm going to grab the screen again, and then here we go. Okay, so this is the article. Okay, fine, accept. Fuck out of here. Okay, Hypertrix. How to access the Google business site. So just go to Google and search how to access the Google business site and append Hypertrix to the search query, and it'll be the first one that comes up, I promise. Okay, and it's very simple. So go to the Google Business Profile Manager, right from the search engine results page, click Edit Business Information, right-click, View Frame Source, then you're going to hit Control F, and you're going to type in data : and there's going to be 8 instances of data : in the frame, the iframe, or the when you inspect frame or view frame source. There will be 8 instances of data : and it's the 8th instance that gives you the string of characters, which is your Google Business Website ID number. And all you do is copy that Google Business website ID number and you append it to this right there. So that business.google.com/site/L/ and in that ID number that you extract from the frame source. That's it. That's it. Full stop. Once you do that, you go visit that URL in the address bar and boom, you're inside the Google Business Profile Manager for that specific profile. It's that simple, guys. It's like 8 freaking steps. It's not even 8 steps. It takes literally like under 2 minutes. Once you get the hang of it, you can do it in 30 seconds. Like boom, go pop a knowledge panel, brand SERP, which is the manager, the GBP profile manager options appear at the top. Click edit profile. When that pop-up pops up, click right click, view frame source. Then you go for data colon. That's it. Control F, data colon. There's 8 instances. Click to the 8th instance. And you'll see in quotes, just past data colon, you'll see the string of characters. Copy that string of characters and append it to business.google.com/site/L. Boom. Go copy that URL, paste it in the address bar, go, and then now you'll have access to the Google Business Profile Manager. It's that simple. Okay. So there you go. All right. Last question. For the GBP optimization SOP, what's the time frame for it? And do you buy all the services from the SOP in week 1? What's the time frame for it? I'm not sure I understand. What's the time frame for completing it?
Yeah, let me scroll back up. I think you asked it kind of twice, but basically for how it's laid out. I'm sorry, let me scroll down here and find this. Yeah, basically, just asking, if you followed your SOPs, what would be the time frame? I believe that's how I interpret it to implement it.
Well, if you're going through it yourself very thoroughly, it'd probably take you a week to go through it, or several days anyways, where you're going through and executing everything yourself. I certainly don't recommend that. I mean, I do probably once or twice to go through it so that you understand everything. But it's set up so that you can plug a VA into it and have VAs do it for you. I do recommend becoming familiar with the process, but it should take probably, several days to a week, like a full work week to go through it and execute all those tasks by yourself. Or if you had a VA do it for the first time, but each time you do it again, it becomes a lot easier because it becomes familiar, obviously. And then there's certain things that can be delegated or outsourced entirely so that you don't have to do them manually, which I certainly recommend. If you have client work and you've got money coming in, outsource as much as you can so that you can focus on generating more revenue. Instead of being the technician executing the work all the time, you should be out there selling more work, right? Seriously. And so the GBP optimization SOP is specifically set up so that you, the mastermind member, shouldn't be the one doing it other than to become familiar with it. But plug VAs into that and spend your time selling more Google Business SEO services, right? Instead of going through the SOP and doing all the work yourself, you could have been in that week, you could have booked 5 sales calls. And if you're any good at selling, you'd sell at least 1, maybe 2 Google Business Profile optimization or retainer-based services, whatever. And now you've got a VA that's going through it and doing the work, right? So that you can focus on generating more revenue. That's all I'm saying, guys. Again, the SOP was set up so that you guys, our members, can stop being the ones that have to do all the damn work all the time. Although a lot of our members still choose to do all the work themselves. And that might be why their, income isn't where they want it to be. Seriously. Think about it, guys. Duplicate yourself. Stop being the bottleneck in your own business. And by the way, I am the bottleneck in all of my businesses. So it's not isolated. I'm not saying that I'm above it, guys. I'm absolutely the bottleneck in all of my businesses, just in higher level bottlenecks now, because I get out of the weeds of execution. I try to, unless there's an issue that needs to be resolved. And that's why I build SOPs all the time, guys. And I try to give our members SOPs too that some of them need to be updated. I'm doing a lot of overhauls right now, specifically to integrate the GBP optimization SOP with the organic side of things. Right now, they've been completely separate in our mastermind, and there was a reason for that. But now I'm trying to consolidate and bring those together. So there's GBP optimization and organic site structure and how to do that properly, and then combine together for the overall kind of holistic local SEO approach. And so that's kind of what I'm working on now. I hope to have that released by the end of November. It might be delayed slightly, but hopefully not. I'm working on those right now. So hopefully that's clear. So the short answer is it take you about a week to go through it the first time. I would recommend that you only go through it yourself once, maybe twice, so that you become familiar with the process, the intricacies of it, and then delegate that shit and focus your attention on marketing and generating leads for your agency and getting better at sales. Seriously, that's where the revenue is made, not executing GBP optimization. Hopefully that's clear. Did I answer all of them?
I think so. I think that was the main question I saw.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to even look at chat today, guys, but it's difficult to do on a laptop anyway. So sorry if I missed anybody else's comments. Let's wrap it up.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
Okay, guys. Don't forget, guys, mastermind webinar tomorrow. Those of you that are mastermind, those of you that aren't,